Mr. Phobes here. I'm going to show you how to set up your Illustrator artboards for the radial study projects. So we're going to have 4 boards, um, and that'll allow us to do 4 different studies. You only need to do 3. So what we're going to do is we're going to go File, New, and I'd already set this up. In fact, since I'd used it, I already have it saved, so I could just select it and it would create a new document. Set it up so the width is 9, the height is 9. We want 4 artboards. The default might be 1, but you just scroll up and down until you get to 4. Let's work in RGB color mode. Go to settings, and one of the things we want to do is spacing. That means 1 inch, so the artboards are 1 inch apart. I like to set the order of artboards up so they go 1, 2, 3, 4. You can set it up any way you want. Make sure you have 2 columns. If you have 1 column, they're just going to be 4 artboards, one on top of another. So you can see all this RGB. We're good, so I would hit create. I'm not going to do that because I already have that set up. Okay. So once this comes in, let's make sure a couple of things are set. Let's go to View, and let's make sure the Smart Guides are set. Make sure Snap to Point is set, and make sure the rulers say Show Rulers. So right now they're showing, so if I clicked on Hide Rulers, they would hide them. But we want to go View, and we want to go Rulers, Show Rulers. The other thing that's important is we want to go to the windows and we want to make sure the Layer panel is checked. We also want to make sure that the tools are checked, and I just like to use the default panel. Okay. Another thing we want to do is I like seeing the grid, so we would also go View. If you go Hide Grid, it goes away, but we want to say Show Grid. All right. And one thing that will be helpful is let's check the spacing of the grid. So go to Illustrator, Preferences, go to Guides and Grid, and set the grid every 0.5 inches. That's going to be important here for a minute. Okay. Okay. All right. If you want to get started with the grids and then it's too much information, you can always go View and then go Hide Grid, and it'll get rid of that. Okay. So I want to pull some guidelines up. With the rulers selected, I go to the selection tool. I have to be right here inside the ruler, and I click and then I drag, and I'm going to pull this right to the grid. We want to establish the center of the picture plane, and I also want to establish it in this direction too, horizontal direction. Okay, this is going to give us our center of rotation. Again, if for whatever reason, if you need to, you don't want to see them, you want to go View and go Hide Grid. Excuse me, Guides, and go Hide Guides. Don't clear guides because then they're gone. So if you don't want to see them, go Hide Guides. Okay, so I'm going to go View, Guides, Show Guides. Okay, the next thing we want to do is bring in the templates that I've created that'll create our clipping masks. So if you go to Blackboard, you'll find that go to Assignments, go to the Digital Projects, go to Digital Project number 4, and you're going to see all the videos that I'm creating, and then go to Clipping Mask Template. When you select it, it'll download it, and if you're on a Mac, you'll see it down here at the bottom. And then what you're going to do is you're going to open it by selecting it, and when you do that, it'll open up, and it'll open up a new file. It'll just open that file up. Okay, so what you want to do now is with the selection tool, select don't select the whole object. You want to select just these paths. Hit the Shift key, select another one, select the third one, and then go Object, go Edit, Copy, and then we're going to go into the new file. Now look at this. We're on layer 1. So we're going to paste this in layer 1, and then we're going to paste the motif in a second layer. So we're going to go uh, Edit, Paste, and they all come in. Just click outside of the selection box. That'll let you move them. So now it's all set up. We can run them right to the center. So the center of the template needs to center on that guide. That's why the guides are important. Okay. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to create a new layer, and I'm just going to click this down here, and that is layer 2. All right. Now, maybe I should have done this the other way because I really want these templates to be they have to be on top of our motif in order for the clipping mask to work. Well, what I can do is I can just grab, select, and now you'll see that layer 1 is now on top of layer 2. I've selected layer 2. If you're really concerned, lock layer 1 so you can't possibly load the motifs in there. Okay, so on layer 2, I'm now going to go File, Place. I have my motif already on my desktop. Place. All right. Now you can tell it's behind because look, you can see the line of the clipping mask there. All right. So what's nice about having these locked is that you're not going to be accidentally moving the clipping mask panel around. Okay. I need to copy these. So with them selected, I'm going to hit the Option key. I'm going to drag them over. Drag them over. Okay. All right. So now what I need to do is establish how this clipping mask is going to clip the object. So I'll zoom in here a little bit. Okay. So what's really important is that the center of your motif is centered on the center line, which is also centered on this mask. Everything has to be centered. If not, the geometry won't work. So now I need to make some decisions about how exactly is this going to fit into my clipping mask. So I can change the proportions. If I grab this edge and bring it down, it'll stretch it out. Right? That's maybe a little too far. It's a little distorted. Again, you can do multiple versions of how this might work. I'm going to have some negative space in here, but I can deal with that later. Like I said, that for the radial pattern to work, you need negative space around this outline of your design. Otherwise, you're just going to get a radial pattern that has the shape of the clipping mask in it. So we don't want that. For your tile pattern, you do want that negative space in there. Okay. So I think just to make it a little bit more interesting, I'm going to clip a little bit of the sides here. Okay, so I'm just double checking to make sure that everything is centered, and I can see that they are. See the guide, the center of the motif, and it's centered on the guideline. All right, so I'm ready to make my clipping mask. So I'm going to select both the path that's the template. It doesn't look like it did select both of them. Oh, I need to unlock the layer. That's why. Okay, so if that happens, that's what happened. Okay, so now they're both selected. So I'm going to go Object, Clipping Mask, Make. Okay, so there it is. Now I'm going to do the magic of the rotation here. It looks to me like it's probably about right. Okay, so what we need to do now, why it's selected, is we're going to make a copy of it, and we want to make sure that it is pasted on top. So you can go edit, copy, and then edit, paste in front. Now, if you look at this, here are the keystrokes. For copy, it's Command C, and for paste in front, it's Command F. Um, okay, so we need to make a copy of this. So we're going to go, we have it selected, and we're going to go edit, copy, edit, paste in front. Okay, so now we want to rotate that copy. So we want to select the rotate tool and then select the option key. So I've got the option key depressed, and now I'm going to select the anchor point, and this little dialog comes up. Release the option key, type in 60, and then hit OK. And you can see what it does is it rotates that copy. So now all I need to do is I need to copy this copied motif. I need to copy it again, copy it in front, and then I need to copy the rotation. And the way you do that is you hit Command C for copy, Command F for paste in front, and then Command D, and it copies the rotation. So I'm just going to do that a couple more times, 3 more times. Command C, Command F, Command D. Command C, Command D. Command C, Command F, Command D. All right, there it is. Now, I want to move this. So I'm going to go to the selection tool, and I'm going to select all of these. And I'm going to move it up right to the center. That looks pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and I want to extend this. I want to make it a little bit bigger so it kind of comes almost to the edges of the picture frame here, and you can see it's really close to that. But what I want to do is if I want it to expand it from the center, I hit the Shift key and then the Option key, and that allows me to expand it from the center. All right, so it's a little bit too small. I've still got the Shift and Option key. I'm going to bump it up. I must be a little bit off center, and then that's good. Okay. All right, so that's how it's done. Just go ahead and do the rest of them. So all it is a matter of changing the math. So when you make the rotation here, the degree is 45, and when you do this one, it's 72. Okay, the next video I'll show you how to export these.